Cosmic Professional Gladiator. Author. I Eat Tomatoes. Subscribe to the Moon Policy YouTube channel. Translator. Moon Policy Editor. Moon Policy. Chapter 7. Yang Qingshuo 2. In the reception area, Xu Jingming sat and drank his water as he examined the gym. From the renovations and space it occupied, it wasn't bad. "Brother Xu," said a familiar voice. Xu Jingming looked up and saw Yang Qingshuo walking over with a smile. It was said that Xu Jingming was young and had become the national team's linchpin at a young age, but in fact, Yang Qingshuo was a year younger and was the youngest one on the national team back then. The once handsome youth had gained weight. Even his hair had turned slightly white, and his eyes were filled with fatigue. "Shuo," Xu Jingming got up. "Come, let's sit inside." Yang Qingshuo brought Xu Jingming into a small living room with a partition. He even brought over some snacks and a fruit platter and poured 2 glasses of water. "Brother Xu, thanks for your help," Yang Qingshuo said as he sat down. However, Xu Jingming noticed that his friend's right hand was wearing a glove. He asked in confusion, "What's wrong with your hand? It's summer, yet he is wearing a glove on his right hand." Yang Qingshuo's expression froze, but he immediately smiled indifferently. He took off the glove on his right hand. It was a prosthetic limb. Although it was covered in bionic skin that made it resemble a real hand, one could still tell the difference from a slight observation. "What happened to your hand?" Xu Jingming found it unbelievable. "A prosthetic." Yang Qingshuo smiled and put on the glove. "It happened last year. A metal frame fell from a tall building under renovation, and a child was below it. I'm a professional gladiator after all." My reaction was specially honed. I immediately rushed over and grabbed the child, saving him. I blocked it with my right hand, but it was crushed by the metal frame. I could only amputate it. "How did this happen?" Xu Jingming was a little stunned. "I was lucky. Just a little more, and it wouldn't be this hand but my head." Yang Qingshuo shook his head and said, "If an iron frame were to fall on my head from almost 100 meters, I wouldn't even be alive. I exchanged a hand for a child's life. It was worth it. Besides, prosthetic technology is quite good these days. It can do simple stuff like carrying plates and pouring water." Xu Jingming nodded slightly. "So you left the sports bureau." "It was an act of bravery," Yang Qingshuo said. "The sports bureau even awarded me and made me a role model. It's just that without my right hand, I'm ultimately unsuited to be a professional coach. Therefore, I was transferred to a desk job to do some administrative work. The salary for an administrative job is a little low, about 10,000 a month. I was in the global top 19 once, so it's not difficult to find a job that pays tens of thousands a month. Hence, I came out to go at it myself." Xu Jingming understood. Most of the salaries earned at the sports bureau weren't high, only the good professional coaches had high salaries. For example, Lu Hai, the national team's head coach, received an annual salary of 10 million. Being a professional coach in the provincial team usually earned 50,000 a month, but an administrative job made him an ordinary member of the sports bureau. His salary wouldn't be comparable to that of a professional coach. "Shuo, if you need my help, just tell me," Xu Jingming said. Ads by PubFuture. "You've already helped me a lot by lending me money." Yang Qingshuo smiled. "I want to see you get married early, Brother Xu. You're already 30 this year. 29 by the Gregorian calendar." Xu Jingming said quickly. "Back home, we only count it based on the lunar calendar," Yang Qingshuo said. Xu Jingming blinked. "Don't worry about my marriage. I'm getting married in a few months." "That's good news. Who's the lucky girl?" Yang Qingshuo asked. "Li Miao Miao," Xu Jingming said. "Keep it to yourself. You have to come when we hold the wedding in a few months." "Li Miao Miao. Is it Li Miao Miao who sings very well, or is it someone with the same name?" Yang Qingshuo asked. "That's her." Xu Jingming nodded. "Miao Miao and I don't know much about marriage and having children. You've been there and done that. In the future, get Xiao Yu to talk to Miao Miao." Yang Qingshuo felt a little embarrassed as he lowered his head to take a sip of water. "Xiao Yu and I got a divorce." "A divorce?" Xu Jingming was stunned. "Yeah, about half a year ago," Yang Qingshuo nodded and said. Xu Jingming somewhat understood. Shuo became an invalid last year. He was a professional gladiator who used a spear. Now that his right hand was disabled, he couldn't use a spear anymore. He couldn't even be a professional coach, so his future income would only plummet. This was probably one of the reasons for their divorce. Divorce rates these days are high, Xu Jingming said. The divorce rate over here is almost 50%. Yang Qingshuo shook his head. It's good to be single. It saves me a lot of trouble. Xu Jingming nodded, but he could sense the bitterness in Shuo's heart. Oh right, I'll be leaving Binhai in the near future. I'll be settling down in my hometown. Xu Jingming started chatting with his good friend, talking about life and some gossip in the industry. Half an hour passed. Yang Qingshuo was very relaxed during the chat, as if he had returned to university and his training days in the national team. Back then, he was carefree and only focused on martial arts. Brother Xu, I need to make a move. Yang Qingshuo looked at his watch and said, I have to prepare my son's meal. Don't let me keep you. Xu Jingming got up too. It's rare for you to visit. I should have dinner with you, but, Yang Qingshuo was a little embarrassed. Haha, I need to go to the capital anyway. Your son is the priority. Don't mind me, Xu Jingming said. Xu Jingming kind of knew that Shuo had lost his father very early, and his mother was now hospitalized due to a serious illness. Now that he was a single parent, he definitely had many hardships. I'll make a move first. Xu Jingming sat in a smart car he hailed online at the entrance of Katie Gym. Meanwhile, the backpack-carrying Yang Qingshuo watched Xu Jingming leave. Then, he put on his helmet and rode an electric bike home. Although unmanned smart cars were very common these days and could be bought without a driver's license, Yang Qingshuo had long sold his car. Half an hour later, Yang Qingshuo, who had bought some ingredients from the market, returned home. This was a large single-floor apartment that occupied an area of 200 square meters. It was considered quite good in Jinmen City, and it had cost him 5 million yuan years ago. Dad, a boy wearing virtual glasses lay on the sofa. He excitedly took off his glasses and ran over to hug his father. Hey, buddy, enjoying yourself? Yang Qingshuo smiled. I can play to my heart's content during summer break, the boy said happily. Besides, I played mathematics and Chinese games in the morning. I've already reached the 55th level for the addition and subtraction subject in mathematics. I've also cleared the 22nd level for the Chinese pinyin game. Not bad. Yang Qingshuo gave his son a kiss. The boy hugged his father affectionately and enjoyed his days with him. I'll cook dinner for you, Yang Qingshuo said. All right. The boy sat back obediently and wore his virtual glasses. There was a robot beside the sofa. The robot was the only companion the boy usually had at home. I can only afford the cheapest level 1 smart bot. I don't usually have time to accompany my son and can only get the robot to accompany him. In the kitchen, Yang Qingshuo looked at his son, who was gaming, and felt quite guilty. A level 1 smart bot could only clean up the house and help watch over his son or have a simple chat with him, nothing else. Cooking a meal was too complicated for it. All I can do is try my best to give my son the same life he used to have. Yang Qingshuo looked at the house. After the divorce, his assets were divided equally. Yang Qingshuo appeared to be living in this house, but he needed to give his wife 3.9 million in cash. All his available cash, including the property, was mortgaged for 2 million, all of it was given to his wife. To make matters worse, his mother fell seriously ill and was unable to help take care of his child. Moreover, the medical fees were very high. He had already maxed out his property mortgage and had even sold his car. He was deep in debt, but he had to hang on. Beep, beep, beep. Yang Qingshuo pressed his watch, and a projection appeared. It was a thin, fat woman in her 50s or 60s, she was Yang Qingshuo's mother. Shuo, Mrs. Yang's breathing sounded weak. I've done a lot of research on the internet. This is a genetic defect, a rare illness. The drugs only buy me time, it's no panacea. Let's not go through all that trouble. Let me come home and spend time with my grandson. Life will be happier, and it will be easier on you too. Mom, don't worry, I've signed a long-term contract with the company. I'll have the money, Yang Qingshuo said. Just focus on your treatment and don't worry about anything else. I'll visit you around 8 a.m. tomorrow. Shuo, Mrs. Yang's heart ached for her son. In just slightly more than a year, he had been disabled, lost a good job, divorced, and became burdened with debt. Now, he was a single parent and even had to take care of her. Mrs. Yang believed that she was better off dead, but she knew her son's character very well. If she wanted to be euthanized, it would probably torment her son for the rest of his life. Mom, I need to get back to my cooking. Dao Dao is waiting to have his meal, Yang Qingshuo said. All right, Mrs. Yang hung up. Yang Qingshuo covered the lid and silently watched the flames rise from the stove. How did my life turn out this way? Yang Qingshuo thought. He was once an elite. If I had listened to Brother Xu and Coach back then, focusing on martial arts and not falling in love and getting married so early, I would have definitely been able to go further in the World Martial Arts Tournament and earn more. I wouldn't be in such a predicament now. He recalled the past. He fell in love in his freshman year. It was his first love. After he joined the national team, he connected with his ex-wife over the metaverse and constantly interacted with her. When he was 22 years old, having just reached the legal age for marriage, he got married and had a child. Although he put a lot of effort into martial arts, he had to admit that being in love, getting married, and having a child had diverted a lot of his energy, reducing what he could have achieved. He was a year younger than Xu Jingming. With age normalized, he was completely comparable to the latter. I'm not as focused as Brother Xu. I didn't suffer a serious injury during my time on the national team. Brother Xu broke his leg, yet he managed to get back on his feet after a few years and entered the World Martial Arts Tournament's top 8. His spearmanship is even acknowledged by the martial arts circle globally. He is known as one of the top 10 spearmen in history and has earned the title of Spear Demon. I'm also a spearman, Yang Qingshuo said softly. I was content with my situation and wanted to spend more time with my wife and son. I didn't sacrifice as much as Brother Xu did. There are no second chances, so it's useless to feel regretful. I'll take it one step at a time. Yang Qingshuo lowered his head and touched his watch, producing a projection. He then tapped it and started making payments. Water, electricity, gas, virtual internet fees, milk money for his son, monthly loans that had to be returned. He couldn't see any hope in his career. He was debt-ridden, and he was sandwiched between his son and mother. He could only rely on himself. He was the backbone of this family. Yang Qingshuo looked up and saw the thin figure of his virtual glasses-wearing son, Yang Dao, sitting on the sofa in the living room. Dao Dao, Daddy can't give you much. But even if I have to give up my life, I will let you grow up happily and give you the ability to be self-reliant in society. The aroma of the stewed meat gradually wafted into the living room. Dad, it smells lovely, shouted Yang Dao happily as he sniffed the air. I cooked your favorite pork ribs. It'll be done in a jiffy, Yang Qingshuo said with a smile. Xu Jingming sat on the high-speed rail back to Binhai City and looked out the window. How did this happen? Xu Jingming knew Shuo's current predicament. His heart ached for the latter, but he felt powerless. He's disabled, and his career is ruined. His entire family still needs to rely on him. All I can do is help, but Shuo has to fend for himself, Xu Jingming said softly. All the best, Shuo. When life gave you lemons, one could only suck them up. Chapter 8. Returning home. Several days later, the Jiangnan provincial team left. Xu Jingming also left Cosmos Center and prepared to return to his hometown. In the afternoon, at the high-speed railway station in Binhai City. You'll be alone in Binhai City, so take care of yourself. Xu Jingming and Li Miao hugged each other goodbye. The latter wore a mask and had a female assistant beside her. Although Xu Jingming had made it into the World Martial Arts Tournament twice, placing in the top 16 once and top 8 once, he didn't often show his face publicly. Very few people recognized him on the streets, but Li Miao was different. She was very popular. Even though she only broadcasted once a month, she still had millions of fans. If she didn't wear a mask, she would probably be quickly recognized. I reckon I'll be done with all the arrangements in 2 or 3 days. I'll be able to return when that happens. Sister Kong has already gone to Mingyu City and has gotten a rental, Li Miao said. Sister Kong was one of Li Miao's 2 assistants. Xiaozeng, you have to take care of your boss for the next few days, Xu Jingming said to the thin female assistant, Xiaozeng. Yes, sir, Xiaozhang immediately puffed up her chest and replied. Xu Jingming smiled and nodded, then hugged his girlfriend. Text me when you're home, Li Miao Miao exhorted. All right, I'm leaving. Xu Jingming turned around, carried his backpack, and passed the checkpoint, heading for the high-speed rail platform. Li Miao Miao led her female assistant as she watched Xu Jingming's back disappear into the tunnel before leaving. Asterisk 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 asterisk. On the high-speed rail, Xu Jingming sat down as a 3-foot-long projection stood suspended in front of him. The projection could only be seen from Xu Jingming's angle. It appeared distorted from other angles due to insufficient light. Brothers and sisters, friends and family, from today onward, I will be settling down in Mingyu City. I invite you to Mingyu City for a holiday, and I'll be your host the entire time. Xu Jingming posted a message on his social media and quickly received replies. Junior brother, bon voyage. This message was from Fang Xinglong, the boss of Cosmos Center. Old Xu, you left Binhai. This was his former national teammate and good friend, Heng Fang. Senior brother, you're finally back in Mingyu City. We've been longing for you. It was Mingyu City's 8 Extremities sect's junior brother, Zhu Tong. You're back. Let's meet up soon. This was the sect master of Mingyu City's Poking Foot sect, Dai Tongda. He was also one of Xu Jingming's 2 masters in his youth. When he was young, Xu Jingming's initiating master was his father. Then, under his father's guidance, he became Dai Tongda's disciple. I heard that Mingyu City is a very beautiful city. I'll definitely go on a trip when I get the chance. This was a world-class martial arts expert, hunter, Mickey. Mickey had studied in China and was proficient in Mandarin. The great expert is returning to his hometown. You have to treat us to a meal. Many old classmates want to meet you. It was Wu Wei, a high school classmate. Messages appeared one after another as time passed. There were his old classmates, his relatives, his provincial teammates, his national teammates, and some experts and friends from the World Martial Arts Tournament that he got to know through friendly competition. There were also some martial arts managers, coaches, and disciples that he had taught. Xu Jingming smiled when he saw these messages and replied to his friends one by one. In an oriental-styled villa in Beijing, Lu Hai, who was eating his 3rd meal that day, was also on his social media. Every year, when he was in seclusion, he took a look at his social media during meals to keep abreast of the world outside. Jingming left Binhai and has returned to Mingyu City. Lu Hai understood why. He was forced to do so by the Tiger Shark Group's Cheng Zihao. The national patronage name list. Lu Hai gently tapped on the screen and looked at the names on the list. He then shook his head helplessly. I talked to several old friends and turned hoarse from persuading them, but Jingming was still rejected. There are 20 people on the list. 12 are master martial artists, and 5 are from the other martial arts schools. Only 3 spots are up for grabs. In the end, these 3 spots were obtained by 2 professional martial artists and a professional boxing champion. The professional boxing champion is a Grand Slammer. Of the 2 professional gladiators, one of them placed 4th at the World Martial Arts Tournament. The other entered the world's top 8 3 times, and his results were better than Jingming's. The name list was too special this time. Lu Hai only had the right to recommend, and he had already tried his best. The scenery outside the window zoomed by. Xu Jingming looked up and stared out the window. After chatting for a while on his social media, he had already crossed the border into Mingyu City. It only took 35 minutes for the high-speed rail to reach Mingyu City from Binhai City. I'm home. Xu Jingming was in a good mood. He looked out the high-speed rail's window and saw countless weeping willows beside the river. The scenery of Zhongnan made him feel relaxed and happy. Although Mingyu City couldn't compare economically with Binhai City, an economic center in China, it was much better in regards to the quality of life. The entire city seemed to be a city built in a park. The pace of life was slow in the city, and many elderly people in the country moved here for retirement. Mingyu City, I'm back. Xu Jingming got out of the high-speed rail station and took a smart car to his parents' residence. It was a villa district with some history. He had practically lived here all his life before he turned 18. In the villa district, Xu Jingming walked in the alley. The stone bricks on the ground had signs of age. Some were old, while some had probably been replaced by property management due to damage. Xu Jingming couldn't help but touch a wall that was covered in indistinct graffiti. He drew this graffiti on his neighbor's wall at the age of 5. Despite all this time, the marks still vaguely remained. As he walked down the alley, he recalled his childhood days when he carried his school bag to school while his father picked him up. Back then, the robots weren't that intelligent. His mother was in charge of cooking, and his father was in charge of picking him up. In the blink of an eye, 20 years have passed. Xu Jingming walked to the familiar courtyard door and pushed it gently. The door wasn't locked, having been opened in advance. Xu Jingming walked to the front yard, which was a small courtyard of more than 30 square meters. He used to spend a lot of time practicing martial arts here when he was young. "Dad, Mom," Xu Jingming greeted. "Jingming, you're back." "Jingming is back." Voices came from inside the house. Xu Jingming pushed open the living room door and saw that his parents had already gotten up. Mrs. Xu wore pajamas and slippers, while Mr. Xu wore a short-sleeved shirt and a pair of berms. It was summer after all, so he dressed very casually at home. "Jingming." Mrs. Xu hugged her son happily. "I missed you so much. Where's Meow Meow? Did you come back alone?" "Meow Meow will be back in 2 days, Xu Jingming said with a smile. Mr. Xu walked out and looked at Xu Jingming before asking, "Where's your weapon?" "It's being delivered. There are many things, and they're all heavy objects, so they won't arrive until tomorrow." "They'll all be delivered to the new house," Xu Jingming said. Mr. Xu nodded. Mr. Xu's name was Xu Hong, and he was about the same height as Xu Jingming. He was much more muscular. After all, he was an impressive person who founded the 8 Extremities sect in Mingyu City. He focused on the 8 extremities and practiced basic stances daily. The 8 Extremities sect stances involved using one's arms, chest, shoulders, back, elbows, and other parts to hit a tree stump. These were also considered part of the stances. There was also the single-armed handstand for training the arms. It was difficult, so the simplified version was to do a 2-arm handstand. A more simplified version was the push-up stance. There was also the stance meant to train the legs. All kinds of martial arts from the 8 Extremities sect allowed one to exert force in every part of one's body, making them as fierce as a bear or a tiger. Mr. Xu had a stocky build. He gave off a domineering aura. "Dad, you need to lose weight," Xu Jingming said. "You're over 100 kilograms now, right?" 105 kilograms, Mr. Xu shook his head and said. "There's nothing I can do about it. I'm old, and my back acts up often. I also have to exercise more slowly. I only practice for 2 hours a day, so my weight unsurprisingly goes up. In the past, I always maintained my weight at 95 kilograms. I told you to eat less since you aren't practicing as much, but you still insist on eating. How can you not get fat?" Mrs. Xu's figure was enough to make many young girls envious. It was just that the wrinkles on her face and the white hair on her head revealed her age. Mrs. Xu was a painter. When she was young, she traveled the world with Mr. Xu and later settled in Mingyu City. "I'm used to eating that much. I can't help it, Mr. Xu smiled. "You were too competitive when you were young. You visited those combat schools all over the world and often sparred with them." Mrs. Xu shook her head. "You ended up covered in injuries. You might be able to deal with them when you were young, but you must be feeling it at your age. You ache all over every now and then. Jingming, take this as a lesson. You need to stay healthy and reduce your combat participation. Yeah, martial arts and weapon combat are very dangerous." Mr. Xu nodded. When their son had his leg broken by his opponent in the World Martial Arts Tournament's arena at the age of 20, the couple panicked. "Dad, Mom, don't worry. I've already returned to settle down in Mingyu City. Who's there to fight with?" Xu Jingming smiled. "Is Jingming back?" A voice came from upstairs. "Grandpa." Xu Jingming was overjoyed. "Your grandfather knew you were coming back today, so he came over early in the morning. He got sleepy in the afternoon and took a nap upstairs," Mrs. Xu said. "He probably heard our conversation." Xu Jingming put down his backpack and walked to the courtyard of the villa. He saw a white-haired old man walking down, and his gait was quite firm and stable. "Grandpa." Xu Jingming immediately walked to the stairs. It's good to see you back. Isn't Mingyu City prettier and more comfortable than Binhai City? The white-haired old man smiled until his eyes narrowed, naturally very happy to see his eldest grandson. I'll be back permanently. I'll spend more time with you, Grandpa. Xu Jingming's heart ached for his grandfather. His grandfather's name was Xu Guishun, and he came from a rural family. He was a professional esports player when he was young, and his game nickname was Master Nameless. Mobile gaming was all the rage back then. His grandfather had even received a finals MVP title once, and his income throughout his career was quite high. Later on, he became a gaming broadcaster after retirement and had saved up quite a bit of money over the years. This became the bedrock of the Xu family. However, his grandfather was already 88 years old, and his health was deteriorating. Come, have some fruit. Father Xu and Mother Xu brought 2 large fruit platters. The grapes, bananas, and watermelons had all been prepared. Have some fruit. Grandpa Xu was in a good mood. He sat down and handed a watermelon to Xu Jingming. Try the watermelons from your hometown. These are all grown locally. Grandpa, I'll help myself. Xu Jingming also sat down and picked up the watermelon. He still remembered that his grandfather often brought him out to play when he was young. His mother was very young at that time, and his father was in his prime. He often practiced martial arts with a group of disciples. Now, his grandfather was old and covered in wrinkles. His face was covered in age spots. His mother had quite a bit of white hair, and her wrinkles could no longer be hidden. Although his father was stocky, he was still 60 years old. He also showed signs of aging. This is how life is. Nobody can stop someone from getting old and dying, Xu Jingming thought. I've grown up, but my parents are old. My grandfather's days are also limited. When Xu Jingming returned home, he felt the warmth of his family. However, he also felt the ruthlessness of time. Your father just bought these fruits this morning. They're the freshest, Mrs. Xu said. They are delicious. Xu Jingming smiled happily as he ate. Subscribe to Moon Policy YouTube channel.